The 2024 Uttar Pradesh Assembly by-elections sent shockwaves through India's political landscape. The Bharatiya Janata Party, or BJP, suffered a stunning defeat in Ayodhya. This sacred city, synonymous with Lord Ram, had seemingly turned its back on the party that championed its cause for decades. The loss was a seismic shift, exposing the fault lines beneath BJP's seemingly impregnable fortress. Ayodhya, the epicenter of the Ram Mandir movement, had long been a BJP bastion. The completion of the temple in 2023 was hailed as a historic victory. Yet, just a year later, the electorate delivered a resounding verdict against the incumbent party. The BJP's defeat in Ayodhya was a potent symbol of the party's waning popularity. The result sent a clear message: the electorate was no longer swayed solely by symbolic gestures and grand narratives. To comprehend the magnitude of the BJP's defeat, it's crucial to understand the city's political history. Ayodhya has been a BJP stronghold for over 3 decades. The Ram Janmabhoomi movement transformed the city into a focal point of Hindu nationalism. The BJP's message of Hindu pride and its promise to construct the Ram Mandir resonated with a significant section of Ayodhya's population. However, beneath the surface of this saffron surge lay undercurrents of discontent. The BJP's focus on the Ram Mandir overshadowed other pressing concerns of the local populace. Issues like unemployment, lack of development, and inadequate infrastructure received less attention. The 2024 by-election results shattered the myth of BJP's invincibility in Ayodhya. The Saffron fortress, once considered impenetrable, had been breached, sending shockwaves through the BJP's rank and file. The Ram Mandir, a potent symbol of Hindu faith, emerged as an unexpected factor in the BJP's defeat. The project, realized after decades of struggle, was expected to consolidate the BJP's position in Ayodhya. However, the completion of the temple coincided with growing discontent among certain sections of Ayodhya's residents. The acquisition of land for the temple complex displaced numerous families, primarily from marginalized communities. The economic benefits of temple tourism were not trickling down to the grassroots. Increased security measures and traffic restrictions created a sense of resentment among some residents. The BJP's failure to address the grievances of those displaced by the temple project contributed to its electoral setback. The party's inability to gauge the shifting sentiments on the ground proved to be a costly miscalculation. The transformation of Ayodhya into a major pilgrimage destination came at a cost. While the influx of tourists brought economic opportunities, it also led to rising inflation and a strain on the city's infrastructure. The cost of living increased, impacting the daily lives of ordinary citizens, particularly those from lower income groups. The BJP government's focus on developing religious tourism infrastructure overshadowed the need for balanced development. Investment in education, healthcare, and employment generation lagged behind, creating a sense of deprivation among certain sections of the population. The lack of adequate infrastructure to handle the surge in tourism also became apparent. The resentment among those who felt marginalized and overlooked by the development agenda grew. The BJP's development model in Ayodhya failed to address the socio-economic anxieties of a significant segment of the population. The Ayodhya by-election highlighted the limitations of a development strategy solely focused on religious tourism. While the grand narrative of the Ram Mandir dominated the headlines, a closer look at Ayodhya revealed growing undercurrents of discontent. Conversations with local residents, shopkeepers, and auto rickshaw drivers painted a different picture. Small businesses complained about the disruption caused by the ongoing construction and the changing cityscape. The influx of large corporate entities was squeezing out local traders. The promised economic benefits seemed to be accruing to outsiders, leaving many residents feeling like strangers in their own city. "We were promised prosperity," remarked a shopkeeper near the temple complex, "but all we got was dust and displacement." The resentment was palpable, even among those who had initially supported the temple movement. The voices of dissent were not limited to economic concerns. The BJP's aggressive Hindutva rhetoric, which had once galvanized support, now alienated some who feared a more divisive and less inclusive society. Ayodhya, for all its religious significance, is not a monolithic city. Beneath the veneer of Hindu piety lies a complex tapestry of caste, class, and community. The BJP's defeat highlighted the limitations of a strategy solely reliant on religious polarization in a diverse and multifaceted society. The party's core support base, consisting largely of upper caste Hindus, seemed to have remained intact. However, it was the shift among other communities, particularly Dalits and Muslims, that proved decisive. These communities, traditionally wary of the BJP's brand of politics, found common ground in their economic anxieties and their fears of marginalization. The BSP, with its focus on social justice, managed to tap into this undercurrent of resentment. The election results demonstrated that the BJP's attempts to polarize the electorate along religious lines had backfired. The BJP's defeat in Ayodhya underscored the importance of addressing the concerns of all sections of society, not just its core constituency. Caste, a deeply entrenched aspect of Indian society, played a crucial role in shaping the outcome of the Ayodhya by-election. While the BJP enjoyed considerable support among upper caste Hindus, its appeal among lower castes, particularly Dalits, seemed to have waned. The BSP, under the leadership of Mayawati, recognized this shift and strategically positioned itself as the champion of Dalit rights. The party's focus on social justice and its promise to uplift marginalized communities resonated with Dalit voters. The BJP's perceived proximity to upper caste groups and its silence on issues like caste-based discrimination further solidified this perception. The party's failure to adequately address the concerns of Dalit communities cost it dearly in the by-election. The Congress also benefited from the consolidation of Dalit and Muslim votes. The by-election results highlighted the limitations of the BJP's strategy of relying solely on Hindu consolidation. The BJP's defeat in Ayodhya was not just a result of shifting political alliances or strategic voting. It reflected the silent majority, often overlooked, finally making their voices heard. These were the shopkeepers, farmers, and youth frustrated by economic hardships and lack of opportunities. Their votes spoke volumes, sending a clear message that development must reach all sections of society. The BJP's defeat in Ayodhya, once unthinkable, signaled a potential crack in its stronghold. The party, which had swept the 2019 general elections and secured a comfortable majority in the 2022 Uttar Pradesh Assembly elections, now faced a resurgent opposition emboldened by the by-election results. The loss in Ayodhya raised questions about the party's declining popularity and the efficacy of its time-tested strategies. The results suggested that the BJP's reliance on religious polarization and its focus on Hindutva might not be enough to guarantee electoral success in the long run. The rising inflation, the lack of employment opportunities, and the perception of growing inequality had chipped away at the BJP's support base. The Ayodhya by-election served as a wake-up call for the BJP, forcing the party to introspect and recalibrate its strategies. The BJP's defeat in Ayodhya offers valuable lessons. It underscores the limits of religious identity politics and the importance of addressing economic anxieties and social inequalities. Religious symbolism and nationalist rhetoric might mobilize some, but they are not a substitute for good governance. The BJP's over-reliance on these factors seems to have backfired. The BJP's neglect of Dalit concerns contributed to its defeat. Voters demand tangible results, good governance, and a responsive administration. The BJP's defeat in Ayodhya has sparked a debate about the future of faith and politics in India. The party's strategy of leveraging religious sentiment for electoral gains, while successful in the past, seems to have reached its limits. The by-election results suggest that the Indian electorate, while deeply religious, is also increasingly aware of its economic and social rights. The voters of Ayodhya have demonstrated that they cannot be taken for granted and are willing to punish parties that fail to address their concerns. The BJP's challenge now is to strike a balance between its Hindutva ideology and the aspirations of a diverse and demanding electorate. The Ayodhya by-election could potentially mark a turning point in Indian politics, where issues of development, social justice, and inclusive growth take center stage. The future of Indian democracy hinges on the ability of its leaders to address the aspirations of all its citizens, regardless of their faith, caste, or creed.